Yeah. Okay, before I correct last night's homework, I'm going to finish the rules if that's okay with you. Right? Okay, so I'm going to finish the rules before I correct last night's homework. Okay, so I did 8 to the power of 0. I think that was the last one I did, was it? Oh no, I did negative ones, didn't I? Right, okay, so I'm moving on to rule number 6. I'm recording, yes. I turned it on, did I? I did. Rule 6. Right, so rule 6 in the log table say, right, that, I have to get the log table. Right, it says in the log tables, it says a to the power of 1 over q is the q root of a. So that's a little q, that's 1 over q, a to the power of 1 over q, and there's a little q on the a there. That's what it says in the log tables, okay? So what that means is, example, if I have 4 to the power of a half, to the power of a half means the square root of 4, right? So the square root of 4 is 2. If I have 8 to the power of a third, right, it's the cubed root of 8, means what number by itself 3 times will give me 8. So again, that's 2. 2 by 2 by 2 is 8. Is that okay? If I have 81 to the power of a quarter, that's the 4th root of 81. It means what number by itself 4 times will give me 81, and the answer is 3. 3 by 3 is 9, by 3 is 27, by 3 is 81. Is that okay? Sorry. Right, so that's rule number 6. Okay? The cubed root of 8? 2 by 2 is 4, by 2 is 8. 2 by itself 3 times will give you 8. Okay? Are we okay? Any other questions for me? Right, so I'm ready for rule number 6. New rule number 7 even. Rule number 7 is in the log tables, it's written a to the power of p over q. Right, so it's not 1 over a number anymore. Right, okay. It's the cubed root of a all to the power of p, or you can do a to the power of p first and then do the cubed root of the answer. Okay, so it doesn't matter which one you do first, is basically what the rule is saying. So you can put it to the power of p first and then get the cubed root of the answer, right? Or you can get the cubed root first and then put it to the power of p, right? For example, if I have 27 to the power of 2/3, right? So 27 to the power of 2/3. That's, you can do 27 to the power of a third all to the power of 2, you know, because raising a power to a power you multiply, okay? Or what you can do is 27 to the power of 2 first, all to the power of a third. Okay, it's the exact same thing, and obviously you can key it into the calculator, but we're learning the rules, right? Okay, so because I'm here with no calculator in front of me, which one is easier? The first one or the second one? Which, I'd say the first one, because I don't want to be squaring 27, right? Because I don't know what 27 squared is, right? So the first one is easier. It's the cubed root of 27 all to the power of 2. So that would be 3 to the power of 2, which would be 9. Is that okay?
Is the 3 before the square root?
Yeah, there's a cube root. Cube root of 27. I mean, what number by itself 3 times will give me 27? So that's a 3. That's a 2. That's a third. That's a 2. That's a 2. Right, be okay? Right, okay. Will I just do another example of that just to be sure? Right, okay, so I'll just do example, oh no, I won't do 2/3 again. Hang on now, I'll just find one there. (16 to the power of 3/4). Okay, so what you can do first is you can do that's 16 to the power of 3, that's an equals. 16 to the power of 3 all to the power of 1/4, or you can do 16 to the power of 1/4 all to the power of 3. You basically break up the quarter into 1/4 multiplied by 3. Is that okay? This one's easier, right? They're both fine if you have a calculator, but this one's easier if you don't. So we're getting the 4th root of 16 all to the power of 3. So that's a 4 there. It's the 4th root of 16. So that what number by itself 4 times will give me 16. 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 is 16. So the answer is 2. So that's 2 all to the power of 3, and 2 to the power of 3 is 8. Is that okay? Right, are we good? Can I move on? What was that rule? What was it? 7. Rule 8, so and the way it's written in the log tables is AB all to the power of P is A to the power of P times B to the power of P. Okay, and we do this all the time, right? For example, if you have 2x all to be to the power of 3, that's the same as doing 2 to the power of 3 and x to the power of 3. And 2 to the power of 3 is 8. 2 by 2 by 2 is 8. 8x cubed, right? And we've been doing that, right? You know, where you square 2x and you get 4x squared. You've been doing this. Right, it's just written down now. Okay, and the last one, rule number 9. Sorry, rule 9 is if you have a fraction to a power, it's the top to the power over the bottom to the power. And again, you've been doing this a lot, right? Okay, for example, if you have 2/3 all to be squared, you'd square the top and square the bottom, wouldn't you? So it's the top squared over the bottom squared, which is 4/9. So you've been using rule 9 all the time. Okay, if I have 3/4 all to the power of 4, right? Okay, that's the same as the top to the power of 4 over the bottom to the power of 4. And 3 to the power of 4 is 3 by 3 is 9, by 3 is 27, by 3 is 81. And 4 to the power of 4, 4 by 4 is 16, by 4 is 64, by 4 is 256. Is that okay? You've been doing that all along, haven't you? You've been squaring fractions and stuff, so that's it, just written formally. Is that okay? Right, I will correct last night's homework now. Right, okay, and they can be my examples of all these rules. Yes? Yeah. Okay. So, I gave you all of number 1, all of number 2, is that right? I'll just do them all out, just to make sure we all understand the rules. So, a squared by a cubed. Enter. What you get? A to the power of 5. When you're multiplying, you add the indices. Okay? X Now they just use a dot for multiply because they don't use an x because a multiply sign because you'll think it's an x. So remember x squared, x to the power of x on its own is x to the power 1. That's x to the power 1. So when you multiply all of those, what you get? X to the power 4. 1 plus 1 plus 2. Remember, x on its own is x to the power 1. Right, the next one, part 3, is 2x cubed multiplied by 3x cubed. So, can I change that multiply sign to a dot? Right, okay. So 2 by 3, multiply the numbers like you would before. 2 by 3 is 6. And it's x to the power of 3, and 3 makes 6. Is that okay? The next one is x to the power of 5 over x to the power 2. Answer? X to the power 3. Because that's rule number 2, I think. 5 take away 2 is 3. Are we all good? Please make sure it's the top take away bottom. So you could end up with a negative number. That's fine because we can deal with that. Right, okay. And the next one is x to the power 4. Oh, good. Just to prove my point. Over x to the power 5. What would that be? X to the power minus 1. What does x to the power minus 1 actually mean? It's upstairs, isn't it? So you move it downstairs and make it x to the power of plus 1. You can't have nothing upstairs, so x to the power minus 1 is actually 1 over x. Would you agree? Right, I know you probably left it as x to the minus 1 and that's fine, that's all they were looking for there. Right, okay, but just for future reference. Okay, next one is, oh there's more in the next line. A to the power 0, a to the power 0, 1. Anything to the power 0 is 1. Then we have the cubed root of 27, cubed root of 27. What number by itself 3 times gives you 27? Answer? 3. Then the next one is raising a power to a power. So a cubed, all to be squared. What's that? A to the power 6. Raising a power to a power, you multiply. Right, okay. And the next one is x cubed, all to be squared, all over x to the power of, oh, I can't read it, 3. Right, okay. So above the line, raising a power to a power, what would that be? X to the power of 6. I have it written down wrong. Right, haven't I? All over x to be cubed. And what's that? X to the power 3. Is that okay? Right, okay. Next one is 3ab all to be squared. So that means you square everything. So you square the 3 and you get 9. Square the a, you get a squared. Square the b, you get b squared. Are we all good with that? Right, okay. That was the rule we did just there a minute ago. Now, the next one is the cubed root of 64. What number by itself? 3 times will give you 64. Answer? 4. Right, 3 to the power minus 2. What would that be? 1 over 9. Yeah, 1 over 3 to be squared because it's negative. Right, and it's upstairs. Bring it downstairs, make it positive. You can't leave upstairs blank. You'll need to put in a 1, so that's 1 over 9. Is that okay? Next one is 2 to the minus 2 all over 3 to the minus 2. Right, sorry, I left one out. No, I didn't. Oh, I did. I'll go back to it in a minute. I'll finish this one and see now if it's written down. Is that okay? So this negative, this is negative. So I need to move both of them, right? So this one needs to go downstairs, so it becomes 2 to the power plus 2. And this one needs to go upstairs and it becomes 3 to the power plus 2. Is that okay? Are we all okay with what I did? Right, 3 squared on top is 9, 2 squared on the bottom is 4, and that's your answer. Okay? Are we good with that? Right, I left out part 3, which is 1 all over 2 to the power minus 3. It's downstairs, you need to bring it upstairs and make it 2 to the power plus 3. Now you can leave downstairs blank, or you can put in a 1. Over 1 and blank are the same thing, aren't they? 8 over 1 and 8 are just the same. So you just leave it as 8. Is that okay? You can't leave upstairs blank, but you can leave downstairs blank. Does that make sense? Right, I'll take that as a yes. And then the last one is 1 all over 4 to the power of minus a half, is it? Minus a half. Okay, we can't deal with it because it's negative, so it's downstairs. Let's bring it upstairs and make it 4 to the power plus a half. Right, there's nothing downstairs, there's nothing left downstairs, so you can just put in a 1 if you want, or you can just leave it blank. 4 to the power of a half means the square root of 4, doesn't it? So what is the square root of 4? 2. Right? If you put a 1 here, and a 1 here, and a 1 here, it's the exact same answer. 2 over 1, 2, same thing. Are we okay with that? That was it? Yeah? Right, okay, so for your notes, I might do example 1. Simplify xy squared all to the power of 3 multiply, I'm doing a dot for multiplied by x squared y all to the power of minus 2 all over xy. Okay? We good with that? Okay, right. So let's get rid of those brackets first. So if you're putting product to the power, it's each term to the power. So it's x to the power of q, x to the power of 3, y to the power of what? Y to the power of 6. Would you agree? Here, multiplied by x to the power of, what would that be? X to the power of what? 2 all to the power minus 2. What would that be? Minus 4 all over y to the power minus 2. Would you agree? Underneath, I have an x and a y. Right, I can multiply on top, right, because I can do x to the power of 3 multiplied by x to the power minus 4. What would that be? X to the power of minus 1, wouldn't it? Right, and y to the power of 6, y to the power minus 2. What would that be? Y to the power of 4, wouldn't it? Because we're adding the powers. 6 minus 2 is 4. 3 minus 4 is minus 1. 6 minus... Is that okay? I'm multiplying them because there's a dot there. No, yeah, so to multiply, you add the indices. Rule number 1. Right, over x and y underneath the line, I'm putting that as a 1. And I'm putting that as a 1. Right, now I'm dividing. So dividing, you subtract the indices. So x to the power minus 1, take away 1. What would that be? X to the power what? Minus 2. And this one, y to the power of 4 all over y to the power of 1. What would that be? Y to the power of 3. 4 take away 1 would be 3. You know, I'm doing the division. Right? Okay. Now, and I wouldn't leave a negative indice. Right? This one's fine. Right? Okay. Because it's positive. So what I do is leave the y to the power of 3 on top. And I bring the x to the power minus 2 underneath and make it x to the power of plus 2. And that's my answer. Are we good with that? Okay, there's a lot of rules in that, isn't there? There's the raising a power to a power. There's the multiplying. There's dividing. There's moving negative indices. Yes?
What did you do to get the x to the power minus 2?
X to the power minus 2. I did, you know what's division? It's x to the power minus 1 all over x to the power 1. You know, division says it's top take away bottom. So top is minus 1, take away 1 would give me minus 2. Is that right? And the 4 take away 1 will give me 3. Any other questions for me? There's a lot of the rules in that, okay? There's a lot of rules in there, okay? So ask me if you're confused about anything.
Do you have to bring it to the, do you know the way?
Here?
So under the line go positive.
Yeah. Normally, you wouldn't leave a negative indice, but yeah, I can't see them. I can't see it being a deal breaker, to be honest. Yeah, if you've got this far, you're pretty much shown you know all the rules. So I couldn't see it being a deal breaker. Is that right? Okay. What do they say? simplify each of the following, writing your answer with positive indices. So it actually asked me in the question, right? But if it didn't say it, that would be get you full marks, okay? But it actually says, I took this is number 7, part 1 in your book, and it actually says, write your answer with positive indices, okay? So is that all right? Okay, example 2.
If it was a negative, would you just put x minus 2 on the top? If it didn't ask for positive, would you just...
Yeah, you could just leave it like that.
On top, and then would you switch?
No, I'd just leave it as that. So I'd leave it like that.
So you're only putting it in the fraction form because it has to be positive?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Doctor. Right, example 2. Again, it's from question 7 in the book. It says, simplify each of the following, writing your answer with positive index. Okay, so it does say positive indices even. Right, okay, which was, so I was going to do y to the power of minus 2 all over y to the minus 3 all to the power of 2/3. Okay, right, now order doesn't matter. I could raise the top to the power and the bottom to the power, or inside in the bracket I could do a division first. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. Inside the bracket there's a division, isn't there? So it's the top take away the bottom. So inside in the bracket it will be minus 2 take away minus 3, wouldn't it? I'm just writing it out. So minus 2 take away minus 3 is actually minus 2 plus 3. So that would be y to the power of 1 all to the power of 2/3. Would you agree? You know the division, it's the top take away the bottom. Yeah.
For the second one, does that say 3 to the power of minus?
Yeah, it says minus 2 minus 3.
Okay, and then you're changing that to a plus?
Yeah, so it's minus 2 plus 3. It's basically the top take away the bottom. I just want to show you that the top take away the bottom means it's minus 2 minus 3, which is minus 2 plus 3. Are we all good with that? Now there's a few ways you could do that. You could move them to start with to make them positive and then do your division, right? Or you could raise the top to 2/3, the bottom to 2/3 and then do the division, right? Okay, yes, I'm not finished.
Yeah, I don't really get why it's not minus 5.
Because it's minus 2, it's the top take away the bottom. Would you say it's the top take away the bottom? Agreed?
Yeah.
For the division. So what is the top?
Minus 2.
And what is the bottom?
Minus 3.
So it's the top take away the bottom.
Oh.
So it would be minus 3, which would be a plus 3. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so that's what's written in there. Minus 2 minus 3. Yes.
Could you just flip the y and then do 3 minus 2?
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah. There's lots of different ways you could do it. Yeah, you could flip them, then do the subtraction, and you'll end up with 1. Or you could raise them both to 2/3 and then do the subtraction. You know, order doesn't matter. With the rules of indices, right, it doesn't matter which order you do any of the rules in, right, as long as you get to the right answer. And then to finish that off, raising a power to a power, you multiply, so that's 1 multiplied by 2/3, which is just 2/3, right? And that's my answer. Is that okay? Questions? Right, okay. So page 477. Let's do 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and 8, and 7. Don't bother doing except parts 1 and 4, and part 4. Why? Because they're the 2 examples I've just done. Okay, so 3, 4, 5, so 3 up to 8, but there's a couple of parts in number 7. Don't bother doing part 1 and part 4, because that was example 1 and 2 that I just did. Is that alright? Okay, I'll stick up a picture now.